We'll do it again. So, welcome to Never Broke Again. I'm Josh Kraft. You got Andrew and our guest Jake Hess,
Hey
the
guys.
solar salesman guy, kinda, sorta, is what he was saying. We were talking about it before. So, Jake, thanks for coming on. He's at Phoenix right now, getting ready for Solarcon.
Yeah, we're filming. We just filmed with some of the people over at Titan, David Williamson, Chrissy Coonrod. Michael O'Donnell showed up. We got Dustin Mansell from Good Leap. So we did some filming and recording, just so you guys can hear a little bit from them before SolarCon comes out. Today we've got more recordings to hear from some of the other speakers that we have coming.
That's cool. And you were saying you got back into solar like 10 years ago almost?
Yeah, it was in 2013. I got into solar, and you guys asked me how I got into solar. It was just you were wondering if I got bamboozled, and I didn't. It's just I was doing home security, and I had a team over there. They told me if I left what I had at home security, and I had some equity over there and some residual pay from managing previous years. If I left all of that, then I went over to solar, then I could get equity in the solar side of Vivint. And after some time, I thought that the equity was just chasing Sasquatch, right? It was like never going to happen. They had some purchases fall through, and customers were starting to get lost because of damage to roofs. And I was just like, I did the math, and I was like, you know what? I'll just make more if I just go off on my own. And it was a good move. I'm glad I did it.
So you had an equity in Vivint, did you say? Is that?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the managers, they had an equity pool that we were able to dip into, and it's I would have had to have stayed there for years and years and years in order to cash out on that. And I believe I made a substantial amount more leaving and doing it on my own before waiting for that.
So you left it and you did alarms on your own, or did you go straight to solar?
Straight to solar. And so I left it over there, and they said if I went over to Vivint Solar, then I would get equity in that side if I built it up.
Oh, okay. So you went from alarms to, okay, they wouldn't let you just do both.
Right. So yeah, that's the way I could double dip on the equity.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So how long are you still with Vivint, or how long were you there?
No, yeah, I stopped working with Vivint back in 2015, I believe it was, and I went and worked at Solar City for a quick little while. Solar City actually flew myself and Ben Mack out to San Francisco, and they said, we want you guys to run the San Diego office for us. And we were like, sweet, Solar City, this is cool. And so we get back, and we told the manager, they're like, just tell the manager. So we tell the manager, like, hey, we're the replacements, and he was like, I'm not leaving. And we were like, wait, what? They said, like, no, yeah, I'm not leaving. And so we called them up and like, hey, your manager's saying that he's going to continue to manage. And they're like, oh, really? Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, let him. And we're like, okay. So we just worked under him and did that for about 6 months. That was a weird situation, and became really good friends with him. And he's actually the one that taught me how to run a solar company. So I broke off in 2016 and built my first solar company, Helio Gold.
How come you
And
left the first company?
Vivint, I had a lot of customers that were canceling because of roof leaks, or they were showing up and promising electrical upgrades, and then somewhere along the line of signed contract to going to install, I remember one guy in particular, he's like, where's the electrical upgrade, you guys? And they said, oh, we figured out how not to do it. And he said, it was part of the reason I made the decision is that I was going to get one. That's what I signed for. I want it. And he canceled him and the 7 referrals that he gave me. I was like, I'm out. I'm done. Like, I'm losing so much money. Roof leaks. It was a disaster back then, but they were new and scaling to a level that, a lot of people hadn't in solar before. So, part of it is you can't blame them for it, but also you can, because scale fast, scale slower, right? I don't want that stuff happening to me.
So how did they scale? They went from, when did Vivint start?
I can't remember exactly when the solar side started. I want to say it was probably in 2011 is probably when it started
And what
in
they
Hawaii.
scale up to? How big they get?
They got really big. They became the country's number one um, outfit for solar. Like they brought PPAs to the market in a massive way, where Solar City kind of had to change their lease agreements, and loans started going away. Like in solar, we can find out exactly when someone bought solar, usually based on the type of contract they had. Like, oh, this contract happened 10 years ago. You get all these homeowners that look into solar, and they look at like a loan, but they looked at a loan 5 years ago and met with three different people from three different companies for this loan, and they don't realize today that even though they've met with three people and they probably became very educated on that loan, it has changed so much in the last 5 years. It's not even the same product anymore. And so even though they feel like they've met with these salespeople and become a professional, it would be worth it for them to meet with salespeople again. And that's kind of one of the things I teach sales reps, is to get past that mentality with homeowners. It's crazy how much the industry has changed in just 5 years.
Mhm. What was life like before you got into solar? What were you doing? I know you said you were in security sales, but I mean, like, where were you? Where were you living? What was life like for Jake?
I was in Utah my last summer selling solar, because we would leave for the summer, or sorry, home security. We leave for the summer, was in Washington, D.C. area, and came back. I went back to Dallas. That's where I was living at the time, and I just couldn't live that lifestyle anymore. Leaving for summer, coming back, leaving, coming back, and people are still doing it. It's just wild to me. They pitched the idea to me that if I wanted a specific lifestyle, then go to solar, because it wasn't summer based like home security was. So I did home security, and then went back to Dallas, and then that's when I moved to San Diego, was to go do solar, and I've lived there ever since.
So you went from Vivint to Solar City. Solar City is run by Elon, right? Elon Musk.
At the time, it was the Rive brothers, which are his cousins. He had given out I believe, $1 million loan for
Who's
them
his
to.
cousins? Who is it?
The Rive brothers.
Rive.
Yeah. They actually are the ones.
Rive.
Yeah, they're the ones that started Solar City, and they took a loan out from their cousin Elon. Sometime later, Solar City was dipping and dropping, and so was Tesla. And so the big move was Elon came in and took over Solar City and labeled it Tesla. Now Tesla looks amazing and awesome, and they got rid of one of the Wright brothers. Let him go. I guess he was the fall guy.
Okay, so you went from Solar City, then you went to Helio.
Did you ever work with them at Solar City? You ever talk to those
Oh,
guys?
Oh, Elon and I, we just hang all the time. No, never met any of them. The biggest execs I met at Solar City at the time, he's not there anymore, was Hayes Bernard, Tanguy, John Frampton was there. So those were the biggest ones I met, but I never met Elon.
Hmm. Or Elon never met you?
That's right. His mistake.
Yeah.
mindset.
All right. So
And
we
then
went from Solar City to now but when you were on the road, what were you like, living in a car, living in apartments? Like,
Oh, when I was doing home security?
yeah.
Oh yeah, they would tell us, okay, you're gonna live in, like, it was literally a draft. Like we would literally draft the areas that we got to go to. So we were doing homework on the economics and the credit score ratings on average there. Like we were doing tons of homework of where we wanted to draft. Once we drafted that city that we got, we would pack up our cars and move there for 5 months. Most people, they pitch that it's 4 months, but we had to go open up the apartments, get everything set up, get the keys, be there for when reps would show up, and then we were usually the last ones to leave. So we were there for about 5, sometimes 6 months, just for a 4-month summer program. And so yeah, I lived out of a car. Like I was so used to going to Walmart and just loading it up with everything that I need every single summer for the apartment. It was just cheaper and faster than packing it all up and moving a big truck with all my kitchen supplies. And it was just cheaper to go buy it all super cheap, use it for 4 months and dump it. It was not the best lifestyle.
Mhm. Do you think that helped you get where you want faster living that way?
Yeah, I do. I mean, once I jumped into solar, it was, you got to pick your own lifestyle. I didn't have to go buy chintzy little silverware plastic things from Walmart anymore. I could literally just sit down at one home, make a home for myself and stay there and start to develop a real life. That's working and doing those summer programs was great for the money that came in, but man, it really messes you up mentally because you just there's no excuses. I remember one time they really drill into you, no excuses. You make your own success. Don't be a weak bitch, right? Like I was driving a brand new Audi that I bought and someone pulled in front of me and hit the back of their car. Luckily, we had a camera recording it, but like the whole front end of the car, I just pulled it off to the side of the road. And I said, all right, let's go knock doors, to the person that was with me. And they're like, well, what about this? I'm like, nothing's going to change. Like, it's still going to be broken. I'm still going to have to wait for a tow truck. That's not going to change. These are working hours. Let's do that when the hours are not working hours. Like, they really drilled into us, like, when to accept that it's not okay to work. And that was never. So yeah, it helped me tremendously in my career, having that type of mentality. Grinding and working hard, work comes first, no excuses, helped a lot.
What was your best like trick? You got tricks? Yeah, like special secret sauce you can share? Andrew wants to know all your secrets.
Tricks? What kind of tricks? What do you mean? Like
Tricks for what? Yeah.
Tricks for selling.
Oh, sure. What's your best line? Do you have like a line?
Oh, for solar?
Do you have cadence? Do you have tonality?
Oh yeah, I definitely I teach, a lot of it is body language, what you do with your hands, your tone of your voice, leaning back, moving forward, squinting your eyes, like so many sales tools, so many sales tricks. I have a list of them that I train actually. I think I went to train about 20 of them one time on Clubhouse. Did you guys ever get into that?
For a minute.
I've been on the Clubhouse before.
So one time I did a training on that of these different tools, and these 20 of them took about 4.5 hours. The crazy part is I still get people that come up to me today like, that was the best training I've ever heard in my whole life. I love teaching. I was told to call it metaverbal communication. That what it's called? Tone of voice, hand gestures, that kind of stuff.
I think it's like neuro. I think it's like neuro, right?
Neuro?
Like brain.
Neuro-linguistic programming is something I've been learning.
Neuro-linguistic, yeah, NLP, right?
Yeah, that stuff is awesome. That stuff is legit. I love that.
Right. So is that what
ahead.
you're teaching in the Solar Academy? These tactics?
Part of it. So we get individual sales reps that want, trainings. Everyone that comes in, I tried making a syllabus, like a program where I could easily bring people in and we cover X, Y, and Z. But not one single person that has come in has requested to start or learn things that another person has. So, it's been, when we do the private consultations and the Zoom trainings, it could go, the spectrum is insane. We could talk about contracts and what the contracts mean, to the homeowners and how to utilize those to sell more products, or we can talk about, hand gestures and tone of voice. We could talk about, the lines to say in a pitch. We could talk about the difference in warranties on inverters and solar panels and how to beat your competition with those. And, the list goes on forever. How to structure pay scales for sales orgs, how to build out KPIs that are automated. Like, the spectrum is very broad in the Solar Academy.
So do you think the rebate is driving the industry?
The credit?
The tax credit, yeah. The rebate, tax credit.
So I do think that, so solar is, and people might not understand this, but solar is 100% subsidized by the government. Whether the tax credit goes away or not, it's still the government that is allowing this program to happen. because the utility company doing net metering or anything similar to it in different areas, they're only doing it because the government's telling them they have to do it, right? So it's not like these companies want to lose customers. The government is very much involved, and the tax credit is a big catalyst for, I personally think, for a reason that sales reps are getting as much commission as they are. You know, this is theory. You know, like I don't think that these big organizations like LG, Panasonic, SunPower, Sunrun, you know, knowing that the tax credits are going to go away before they started their business, I mean, wouldn't they be idiots to build a business model that knew the tax credit was going to go away and just say, oh, we'll stay in business as long as it is here and then we're out. You know, they've already anticipated this, and I think the only thing that's going to take a hit is the sales reps commission.
Well, you know, I mean, for self-employed people, right? They want the tax credit. Like, here, just throw some solar up on my roof because I need to offset my $100,000 a year in taxes I'm paying to the IRS, or whatever it is, 10,000, 20,000, sometimes it's 100, depending on who you talk to. So when that goes away, and you're saying the government's involved, but also at the same time, nobody's sort of regulating these electric companies. I feel like they're being very, very sharky to an extent. They're not allowing net metering, right? So, and
What is net metering?
Yeah, I mean, net metering is paying, and Jake can correct me. I'm a rookie at this kind of stuff. I'm getting solar. I'm actually in the process of getting solar. So to me, it's the electric company paying whatever they sell it for, right? If they're paying 10 cents, they're going to give you 10 cents back, right?
You know, some areas do that. Net metering agreements with different utilities, they differ across the country. So some of them do it that way, you're right.
Okay. So is there a benefit to net metering, or does it not matter?
Yeah, there's definitely a benefit. So basically, you know, these utilities, a certain percentage of the residents need to be on renewable energy. And net metering could actually be big windmills, and it could be hydro. It doesn't have to be solar. It just happens to be solar because that's the most efficient way for us to do it on residential homes. No one wants a big windmill in front of their front yard, right?
Well,
So,
sure. I mean, I'll take one.
I could look pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Why not? I don't give a shit anymore.
I want one of those ones that from Holland that look like that.
Yeah,
No, so you know, so net metering it's basically just keeping it's keeping track through a meter. During the day when those solar panels are generating power, that meter is ticking backwards while power is being put into the grid. And basically they just installed a digital meter that allows it to run backwards and keep track of how much they're putting in. And then when they go home and they flip on the lights, the meter starts to tick forward because they're using power out of the grid. So the utility company is just keeping track of how much power is going in and how much is going out. They're keeping a net total of that number so that they can bill the homeowner if they use any over what they produce. So they're keeping a net total, and they happen to do it through a meter. So they got really creative and called it net metering.
Okay. So if somebody's not home during the day because they're at work, right, at the office or whatever, and the solar's hitting, so it's not using a whole lot of power, right? So they get the credit. They get the credit for that because they're not using it. Is that what's happening? So they get the credit, but with some electrical companies, they don't get as much credit, right? They get maybe half.
Yeah, some utilities out there, like they'll give you a 1-to-1 ratio. Every kilowatt hour you put in, they'll give you a kilowatt hour back. Mm-hmm. Other utility companies are saying a dollar amount. For every amount of power you put in, we're going to give you, 20 cents. And for when you take it out, we're going to charge, 20 cents. So it's kind of the same thing as a kilowatt hour and a kilowatt hour, but they're doing it on a dollar basis. Where it starts to get crazy is time of use. hey, you put it in at 10 o'clock in the morning, so we're going to give you a 20-cent credit, but when you pull it out at 5 o'clock at night, we're going to charge you 50 cents. It's like,
Really? They're doing that?
yeah, that's it's in California. And in Arizona, where I'm at right now, they're saying, hey, we're going to give you a credit of 10 cents, but when you pull it out, we're going to charge you 16 cents. And so, that's 140% difference. So there's a 40% difference. So all you're doing is offsetting the system size to 140% to cover with 10 cents what the 16 cents pulls out. Does
Right.
that make sense?
So that's crazy. That's where the electricity companies are just seem unregulated, right? Like,
For
are
the
they allowed to
electricity
do that?
companies, they're absolutely trying every single day to try to figure out how to finick and mess around with the rates so that homeowners are blinded, thinking, hey, we're going to save money because this new plan came out. All they're doing is creating super creative ways to charge more while they're losing their customers, right? So these utilities, California happens to be like the epicenter for what can we get away with. They test, like, we're the guinea pigs. They test everything on us, and then the rest of the country's watching, and they're like, that's a good idea. Let's see if it works.
Right.
Oh, it works. All right, let's roll it out.
That's the first time I've heard of that. So they're charging more, because I was just thinking, yeah, if you're not home, you're not using it, right? But if you're using it at night, you're using the AC, the lights, between 5 and 9 p.m. That's probably when most people are using it and the sun's not hitting it, right? So that's where we're kicking that back in. So they're charging more. So is that published? Is that known? Or is that like,
I mean,
how do
to
you know?
train
How do you
that,
find that out?
well, you go to, so the Solar Academy. No, I'm just kidding. So, I mean, no joke though. We literally have built trainings for it. When it first came out, organizations were not teaching it, and even today, people aren't teaching how time of use affects a homeowner. So, homeowners will say in San Diego, for example, they'll say, "I want my solar panels on the east side of the house." Well, the sun rises in the morning on the east, which means you're going to get a cheaper credit. You're going to get a credit for like 12 cents a kilowatt hour. And then when the sun is setting over here, when you get home and you turn power on during peak hours, we call it, they're charging you 50 cents. And I think this year, it actually, for the summertime, it went up. It's 69 cents a kilowatt hour now in San Diego. And so they're going to get credits for like 20 cents and get billed at 69 cents. All you have to do, people watching this, is pick up the solar array from the east side and move it to the west side so that you're putting power into the grid at the expensive time and not pulling it out at the expensive time, right? Your meter, even if you're using power, it will just tick forward at a slower rate if you put the panels on the west.
So in the evenings, they're charging 69 cents. What are they charging in the mornings?
Like, I can't remember that. Now it's like, I want to say 25 cents or something like that. I'd have to pull it up on SDG&E's site. I mean, San Diego is the most expensive utility in the country, hands down. And people are like, oh, okay, I'll just drive there and start selling solar. Because it's the most expensive utility. When you go into a home, there's people hiding in the bushes ready to jump into that appointment with you. Like,
Oh my,
you're competing at a massive level out there.
wow.
Yeah, it's wild.
Wow.
All right, enough of the solar talk. What if solar went
like
away
the
right
rebate.
now? If solar went away right now, Jake, what would you do?
I've already been learning nuclear. So I own the Nuclear Academy. I own a whole bunch
Nuclear Academy.
of.
Like, explain
I'm-
yourself.
I'm
Are we
already
gonna have to
learning.
use this on Putin?
I'm already learning nuclear energy and how that works, and how to train on it. I think that if solar does go away, it's gonna go to nuclear. I don't even know if we'll get it in our lifetime.
So like nuclear power, like nuclear power plants, like that's going to become a thing again?
Yeah,
what was the place in Russia? Was it a Russia power plant that blew up?
It's nothing.
Oh, no.
Chernobyl? Is it called Chernobyl or something?
There's plants that blew up through my island. Like, there's plants that blew up. They're trying to figure out how to make it safer. That's the only problem. It is far better on the
So where do we experiment? California?
Probably. No.
There it is.
It's
Just
far
kidding.
better on the renewable side of things. It's cleaner power. It makes far more of it.
How
It's
does
cheap.
nuclear power transfer to my house or apartment?
I mean, it's already happening. There's nuclear plants right now that you're probably getting billed for. A lot of the power, when you see distribution charges or transmission charges, it's basically them getting the power from somewhere else to your house. So California, for example, we buy a lot of our power from Arizona and Nevada.
Like, do you really
They
like this
just,
stuff? It sounds boring to me. Like, you really like this?
I I just know it really well. So
But do you like
I
it?
just,
Like, is you're like, you wake up, you're like, yo, I'm about to learn nuclear. I'm about to do solar. Like, let's
oh
start.
my God. Nuclear has been so fun for me to learn. Like I'm getting down to the molecular level on, the difference in
You're doing like
isotope.
organic chemistry and stuff.
Yes. Yes. Getting down to the protons inside of a nucleus. Like
Mhm,
it's amazing. I love learning stuff. And to me, I love learning.
mhm.
So yeah, so let's circle back. You started Helio Gold. Where does that name come from? How'd you come up with that?
Oh, that's a good question. I picked up a book on branding. I started reading because I didn't know how to start a business. So I was like, how do I pick a name? I bought a book and started reading it. And one of the best things that I learned from it was, these companies out there, if you it's all about search engine optimization and getting your name recognized. So pick a name that's not really a name and put them together. And it's something that's easy for people to say and remember and hear, and it changes your demographic who you're marketing to. So helio means sun, and gold means, just gold is something that I could play off on a cultural build. We started getting guys gold staplers and gold shoes and, gold, everything just became gold. The customers we talk to, we treat them like gold. The doors we knock are gold. Everything was gold at Helio Gold, right? That was our
So you started that in 16, 2016,
2016.
and then did you sell that?
Yeah, ended up selling that. I went to a conference with Ben, and the conference was a guy on stage,
Ben, who's Ben?
Ben Ben Mack, my business partner at Helio
Okay.
Gold. He's actually been a friend since 2005. He's the one that got me into home security. I was in his wedding. Like he's one of my best friends. So it was great to work with him. And we actually started building the Solar Academy together. But he said, I want sales first. And I said, I want operations, the chicken and the egg. And that's why we separated ways. That was it.
Oh,
So you and your
Yeah.
friend separated?
Yeah. He started consulting and he wanted sales first. And I said, I don't want to live that life. I don't want to get sales before we have an operational platform. I want operations. So let's build that first.
Do you think you need the foundation before you go and get the sales? And he was just kind of like, let's go
He
get the
wanted
money.
Yeah, he was like, let's get the money to build the foundation. I said, no, let's build the foundation and then get the money. And that
Andrew
was it.
kind of feels like that. Which one
hey,
does Andrew?
Josh and I are partners, and I'm like sales driven, and he's process driven. I'm like, dude, we don't need a process if we're not making money, man. You know what I mean? It's the chicken and egg argument all the time we have, and I'm like,
Well, it's the thing
I think
is when you hit that viral sensation or you start to see that success and then you don't have the processes in place, then you're going to end up losing a lot of business. At the same time, you do need cash flow coming in to survive, but without the foundation, I feel like you can't scale as efficiently. Maybe it's a little bit slower in the beginning, but
Well,
I don't know.
sales
What do you think, Jake?
sales guys are told and taught, and we hear it, and it actually is true that sales solves all problems. You have a problem, go sell more accounts, right?
yeah.
Yeah, you'll get the money to pay for it. So, and that's true. But then the stress load is insane. So the difference between Ben and I think we've talked about it a little bit. It's not worth his time, he says, to keep consulting. It takes so much time and energy to do it. I mean, you think it's the dream job, and we thought it was too, but man, you become a slave. Like people hire you for, some big bucks. Like,
Oh, they're
they're
like a
like, oh,
big baby. They're like a baby and you're their parent.
yeah, like I have a question. Like, oh, that's okay. I'm flying right now. I'll give you a call. Nope, need it right now. Like, okay, I'll change my flights. It's like it's wild. But yeah,
Maybe that's
so
just
But
improper
that's what Voxer's
expectation.
for, right?
That's like improper expectation. Like,
Yeah, but that's what Voxer's for. You know Voxer, Jake?
no, what's that?
Okay. See, Ari Meisel taught us about Voxer, right? You got to go get it now. So if a client has a question, they just go, hey, yo, I got a question, blah, blah, blah. And then it just goes and it sits there in the phone. And then you can respond, say, don't call me. You don't need to get my cell phone, right? I'm going to respond at my convenience, but it's going to probably be within 24 hours, right? So it gives you 24 hours to respond.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, it's
like Discord. You may have heard of Discord.
yeah, the NFTs.
No. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know Discord.
Well, so it's so the way it works is, well, they can do that.
Voxer, you guys can get back into business then.
No, it's not that. It's more like, hey, we're meeting with this customer and we don't know how to build proposals, but we've got to meet with them. You've been helping us with proposals. Teach us, because we've got an appointment. You know, it's like it tends to be like pretty instant stuff that they need, not questions, but they do send questions to us as well. And it depends on their package. Some of the packages, they don't have private consultations with us. Some of them kind of have a do-it-yourself type of program that we have. You know, where they watch a bunch of videos with automated testing and, you know, can send questions in, and we have weekly Q&As and bi-monthly webinars. Like, we have a lot going on for them. But, you know, we wouldn't have had that stuff going on for them if we hadn't built that first. And so we can bring on the masses without stress now, because we did go viral. We're getting about 10 people a day submitting to us that they want mentoring from the Solar Academy. So we increased our prices because we were able to sustain them, but not to a certain point. And so in order to grow further and build more, we had to raise our prices to get less traffic so that we could build.
What is Solar Academy? That's the name of it. They go to, what's the website?
thesolaracademy.com.
And
Is
how
that
much
your
you
main
guys
goal?
charging?
Is that the main goal right now? Is getting people to the Solar Academy?
You son of a bitch. Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, that is a main goal. That's covertly why we built Solarcon. You know, that's why we have all the Facebook groups that we do. And you know, we're essentially building our media platforms and all of these platforms because I can't go to door con with Sam Taggart and be like, hey, Sam, give me a booth for free. I want the prime spot and I want to speak at the prime time. Like, I can't do that.
Why not? How come you can't?
Because he wants to control his event. He wants people funneling to his product, right? So why would he let me go
Give
up
him
there?
a piece of the pie, man. Give him a piece of the pie.
Or I could just build my own conference, right?
True that. Andrew and I will help you build it.
Thank you, guys. Everyone else is like entertaining.
Yo, you want help? Like, I don't know anything really about solar. So
doesn't
I think
matter.
tell me what to do.
I think, Jake, I think you need a magazine extension.
Let's do it. Let's do some. No, so I hired some people that are doing social media builds for us. They're building podcasts for me right now. So that's exciting.
So tell us more about the rebate, right? So the rebate, I like calling it a rebate. You know,
yeah, some people will hang you if you call it a rebate.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. But how does it differ? I don't even care. It's like the same concept. It's close enough, right? So they get the money back tax time, right? Or they can use it to offset their taxes. But that's going away. When does that go away?
So they keep extending it, right? Over in San Diego, we're like, please let it go away. Like, please dry up as fast as it can.
Because you don't need it to sell.
We don't need it because our rates are 69 cents. So the country is going to move to San Diego, and whoever has a business out there is going to be like, come on in, we got you, come on. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So the credit, the way it works, it is going away, but they keep extending it. You know, there was talk about moving it back up to 30%, even though it's dropped down to 26. So they want to keep it going. I don't know if it will ever go away at this rate, but it's set to go away right now.
So
right?
It's going to go to 22
in a couple of years.
In 23, right? In 2023.
Oh, yeah, it is next year. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes to 0 in 2024, right?
Supposedly, who cares? Who knows?
Yeah,
it could change tomorrow, right? It could change tomorrow.
Well, the Build Back Better, right? That's in Congress, and that's not getting. Is that going to get passed?
It didn't get passed.
Is it still pushing, or is it done?
Dead.
pretty dead in the
Dead.
water.
It's dead.
So this will have to be passed if it's going to be extended as like a standalone, right? As an independent thing.
Yeah, they'll
So
just break
how
it.
is the solar so, like realtors, they have NAR, you know what I mean? Or mortgages, they have their organizations.
What the hell
that
is
help-
NAR? That's something you surf or shred.
Yeah.
That's the NAR.
That's the NAR. That's the NAR I know. What's the NAR you're
is
talking
the
about? And that's the
National
NAR Jake knows.
Association of Realtors.
That
NAR
was
is
awesome.
national. So they have basically a
Oh, he's saying Mar.
Jock, I'm gonna come over there and kick your.
I
All
hope
right,
you do.
so
Do it.
Mars.
Mars. Oh, okay.
all right, so does solar have some sort of political organization help like lobby in DC? Because that's huge. Is
Oh,
that
yeah,
out there, or does that not exist?
Yeah. There's tons of organizations lobbying in DC for sure. Big ones that were doing it were Vivint, Solar City at the time. I'm sure Tesla's doing it.
So companies are doing it, not organizations.
Probably organizations too. I don't know the political side of things as well.
Okay.
I just remember working at Vivint that they were saying that Vivint is pushing the boundaries that solar can be valued at in these different states. And Solar City and these other organizations are riding the coattails. As soon as Vivint opens up a new market, they're like, us too, we're ready too. Like, even though, Vivint did all the hard work, or it was vice versa. Solar City was doing the hard work. That's what it was. And Vivint was riding the coattails, but
So it's not the industry is not consolidated. There's no, like mortgages, they have AIM, right? That's where all the mortgage people come, and they have what I'm thinking is like SolarCon can be that possibly for the industry, right? Because mortgage people, they have AIM, right? Realtor people, they have NAR, which is National Association of Realtors. AIM is Association of the Independent Mortgage Professionals.
Oh, I see.
Those companies, they're not companies, they're like nonprofits to an extent. So
Yeah.
they're fighting for the industry's rights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. So, aside from SolarCon, the SolarCon, we have some other builds that are happening as we speak. One of those builds is we own the National Solar Association. And so one of those builds is to build.
You own it, or
Yeah.
National Solar Association. Okay.
So one of our builds is to create a certification for salespeople and installers. There's no like realtors, for example, they need a license to do it. They need to get educated on certain things.
Right.
There is going to be regulation coming to the solar industry. We are in the good old days right now. We are going to 10 years from now, we're going to man, those were the good old days. We're in them because the way that everyone's selling right now, not knowing, how the tax credits necessarily work, it can hurt homeowners in a very bad way. And homeowners have these expectations, and there's no entity like right now, there's no entity out there that if one company says, hey, you only need 10 solar panels to make all of your power. And I'm saying, no, you need 46 solar panels to make that much power. There's no entity out there that's gonna slap the wrists of the person saying 10 panels. The homeowner doesn't know any different, right? The homeowner has no clue. And they're just thinking 10 panels is cheaper than 46. And they're telling me, so let's go that route. And if they get it wrong, there's no entity out there that's going to come and get them in trouble. There's no regulation in solar right now. So we think it's coming very quickly, and we would like to build the regulation and what that looks like and sell it to the government when they're ready. So we're in the process of building that. And I know other organizations are too. We're not the first ones. And I've openly talked to the people building it. It's a monumental task, and we've talked about teaming up to create it.
Yeah, because like for those other industries, that's a part of their membership, right? Like, okay, I don't know how to structure it. I'm just thinking out loud how to structure it, but you join those memberships, and yeah, I guess a certification would be tied into it. And then SolarCon would be their annual event, right? And you pay annual dues and you're a member, right? And you build your member base, for, what is it called? National Solar
The National Solar Association.
NSA. Little rough initials there, but
I know. And then we have TSA for the Solar Academy. Like we're going straight,
oh
we're
my
skipping
God.
all the
So
acronyms.
the goal would be to get like as many members in NSA and then get them to come to SolarCon, right? And then get them to help get the companies to help fund to lobby, pretty much, to lobby to extend the tax credit, to lobby to control these electric companies from basically playing God, pretty much is what they're doing. Because they're multi-billion-dollar companies. I mean, it's hard to battle these, it's easier, it's impossible almost.
So the utilities are actually what's called a regulated monopoly. And they actually don't make money off of their customers. A lot of people don't know this. The 69 cents that we're getting charged in San Diego during peak hours this summer is not because they're making money. Where they make their money is keeping the grid maintained. That's where you hear the theory of $10 for a bolt, $50 for a hammer. Because they get paid to maintain and build the grid. The bigger they build the grid, the more money that utility makes, but they can't make money off of the power that they sell to the residents. So the reason it's going up is because more people are going to solar. They decommissioned nuclear plants, so now we're paying for that. Fires that happen in California are put out by the utilities, so they increase utilities for that. SDG&E, PG&E, all these utility companies, they are literally not allowed to make money off of their rates.
Okay. So they don't make money on their rates, but why are they increasing their rates
because they have to break even. They have to break even.
They can at least break even. They just can't make a profit. There's a difference.
Yeah.
So they could charge a certain amount, like, hey, our company makes no money. We just break even. But they're still
But
that's what I tell Andrew. The key to making money is not making money.
Oh Lord.
That's what they're doing, right?
Oh Lord.
They're still making money. They're just not making money.
Only one person made Facebook. Only one person made Uber, but a billion people try. I mean, I don't know, man. All right. But so they, all right. It's a little.
Well, so I'll go back to the tax credit question. So that tax credit, it's only a credit. It's not a rebate. So to the point you were bringing up, a rebate means that anyone gets it. Like it's if you got solar, you're going to get a check in the mail. A credit is only if you owe the government or if you've paid them too much.
They need to flip that to a rebate, right? Because that's what they were attempting to do in the Build Back Better.
If they switched it to a rebate, that would have been the best thing in solar since it came out. Like that would have been amazing.
Right. Flip it to a rebate, put it to 30%. And hey, man, you're getting 10 G's cash back. Like, boom, I'm going to go buy a house with this, another house or, anything,
or pay their solar off faster. Right. So,
because you can't even pay the solar loan down with the tax credit, right?
You can. In fact, the loans that they give out in solar already anticipate you getting that credit and applying it to the loan, which is why the monthly payments are as low as they are with a loan. If you don't apply that tax credit within 18 months, your monthly payments go up.
So you can apply the tax credit to the loan.
You have to apply the tax credit to the loan to keep the monthly rate that the sales rep pitched you.
Yeah, where it bumps at month 18, right?
Yeah, up to a higher amount as if you did not apply the tax credit.
So you can do that. I didn't know.
So what people misunderstand.
Dude, I'm so misinformed, man. I don't know I'm just like, I'm going to go through the process and find the answers that way, because I get different information in this industry.
Yeah. So the tax credit, so it blows people's minds. I tell people in 2019, when I stopped Helio Gold, I made 1.4 million in 2019 from Helio Gold. That's what I took home.
Gross or net?
What's that?
Gross or net?
That was my net. That was after everything.
What was your gross?
I don't know. I'd have to pull up the numbers. But I didn't qualify for the tax credit myself, because even though I took home 1.4 from Helio Gold, there's not a chance on earth that I would put it in my own bank account. I have other LLCs set up that I put them into, that bought my truck that I drive around, that bought my, you know, cars, like that bought all the tools that I have. I built LLCs around those, and a razor that I bought, I posted it online to rent. The price is really high and people probably won't ever rent it, but
A razor?
it's a 4-seater mountain, you drive it.
Oh, this is West Coast stuff. Okay.
No, you see them in the mountains. You see, they look like little dune buggies, like they're like
I'm
rhinos.
more in redneck country, man. I mean, yeah, the mountains are up north a little bit, but yeah, I got you.
So these different LLCs own these different things that I own and have at my house and that I use, and it's the business that bought them, so I don't pay taxes on them, right? I think in 2019, I think myself, Jake Hess, I think I made somewhere around like 20 grand to my own personal bank account. And my taxes were not, I didn't owe taxes. So
That's what I'm saying. The key to making money is not making any
Yeah,
money.
but you got to explain that, dude. Because the way
Jake's doing it. He just explained it.
Yeah, he explained it properly. You're like, oh no, let's not take it.
I want you to like figure it out on your own.
Oh yeah, thanks.
I wouldn't have qualified for the tax credit myself. If some solar person came to me and said, there's a tax credit, oh, you made over 100 grand, I don't qualify. And there's
you're
you're
not reporting any money, basically. That's why.
Yeah, I don't owe the IRS money. I don't owe them anything. I don't qualify for the credit.
So you would have taken the rebate. You would have liked the rebate though.
Oh, the rebate means I get it regardless. I buy solar, I get the check no matter what.
What are these LLCs you set up? Just shells?
I mean, kind of, but they actually do business. So one of them is called Brightwood Customs. You know, we build custom stuff for people, like custom furniture, custom tables. I'll pull one up right now. We get
How
a
many
lot
different
of
companies do you have right now?
I say I have a bunch of different companies, but really they're more passion projects. Like I don't know if you
How
can
about
see
solar account? What's that?
This is a table that we built. We built this whole thing for a solar company. That's a solar panel inside of a wood table. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we put epoxy coating over it. Like this company hired Brightwood Customs to go and renovate their entire building. New can lightings. I mean, I've had salons hire us. Like, so all of these tools that I bought, the trucks, the trailers, all of this stuff that I really wanted because I wanted to play with the tools. I love building things. I didn't want to, like, I was looking at my entire tool collection. I was like, oh, this is so sick. And it hit me. I'm like, shit, I bought those. I'm going to have to pay taxes on all that. I'm just going to create another LLC. Let's call it Brightwood Customs. That was a loan for Brightwood Customs. Now Brightwood Customs owns all of that. And now I can start selling services for it and I don't have to pay taxes on any of it yet. It's
So
deferring.
why don't you build a better like roof tile? Can you do that? Like a better roof solar tile instead of the panels?
Because I don't. Oh, so there are some companies out there doing that, and I tried rolling one out to market. It's called ErgoSun, and what they did is they got these concrete tiles and they put a thin film of solar on it, and then they covered it with this resin that doesn't yellow, and it looked beautiful. But behind each tile, and each tile weighs about 8 pounds. Behind each tile, 8 to 10 pounds. There's a like a speaker. You know the old speakers when you had the black thing, you push down the red thing, and then you put the wires in it. Remember that? So these tiles have that behind it. So you have all of these wires running from every single tile on that roof. And then you have to pull all of those wires and then connect them into it. It's just so much wiring and so much work. The install would take probably a week and a half or 2 weeks to do it. And the problem was the installers were like, we're going to make the same amount of profit installing that job as we are doing. If that job takes us 14 days, we could have done 14 other installs with regular solar panels and made 14 times the profit than this one job. So the only other solution is to increase this job to 14 jobs of profit.
Yeah.
And then it prices is out of the range for the homeowner. Like, but some homeowners are buying it because they don't care if I'm paying 14 times the amount. I want that look. And that's why these tiles and these solar tiles haven't really taken off. It's just they're not practical.
What's your superpower, Jake?
I have a horrible answer for you for that. You're probably thinking something solar related, but my superpower is I used to drink a lot. I don't anymore. I haven't drank in about, I don't know, 4 months, but I used to drink a lot.
That's
And
not very long, Jake.
Hey. No, and I never got hangovers. No matter how much I drank, I would never get a hangover. That was my superpower. It was fun to wake up in the morning. I'm like, let's go. Everyone
really?
else,
But that comes down to hydration.
It's the worst superpower you could have. It's not the greatest one, but hydration, some Advil when you wake up in the middle of the night, some Advil and some water, you're good to go next day. Don't do that. No, I would say my real superpower is my ability to learn something. If someone says a statement and I don't know what it means, it's my brain works in a weird way. I have to connect the dots. So if talking about nuclear, for example, I was learning how these plants were working, how like the steam worked. And I'm like, it said hard water. What is heavy water compared to light water? What is that? So I researched heavy water. And then it talked about the different amount of isotopes and the protons in the nucleus and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, let me study this then. And I go all the way down to a molecular level so that I can connect the dots to figure out how the steam properly works. And I think that's my superpower, is my ability to connect dots and ask the questions of where did this come from? How does it work? And that's really allowed me to understand a network. And from that, they're like building blocks. I can actually take pieces that I learned over here, and there's a problem here, and I can actually find out the connection between them because of knowledge that I have in these other spaces. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. I think your superpower can be bigger than that, and it could be consolidating the industry at the top politically through the conference, through this certification aspect and building that organization. Because I personally believe solar is better than fossil fuel, right? Like that's preferred, but how can you push it? And it's through the government. It's through this rebate. If you had a 50% rebate, like in South Carolina, that's a no-brainer, right? Like South Carolina, you get what, 55% right now? Is that
from the utility? The utility is given a bonus.
Yeah. So if every state was given 50%, wouldn't everybody go solar? Wouldn't it be like?
Yeah, but South Carolina also had, what's that?
Exactly, right?
Everyone, if rebate checks came, solar would be completely different. Like
rebates and increase the credit.
PPAs would be gone.
What's that?
PPAs and leases would be gone. There would be no need for them anymore.
What's a PPA?
It's, in today's world, it's the same as a lease. There's such
the research I've done on leases for solar are trash, right? That's horrible to do. Like, why would you do that? Ever lease solar? Is there any reason for it other than to get a commission from the salesman?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things I teach people is if you're going up against a bunch of different loans, you can destroy them with a lease. You can just say goodbye to your competition with a lease. Like, I hope that everyone pitches loans because I can go on with a lease. Now, on the flip side of things, I can also do the same thing for a loan, right? That's kind of the power of the Solar Academy, is learn how to sell what you've got. But I truly believe leases are a better product than loans in some cases. It depends on the homeowner and their circumstances. My circumstance, for example, a lease would be better because I don't qualify for the tax credit. It's actually cheaper for me to do a lease than it is to do a loan, if that's the case. Right. And so you get people that are retired that don't necessarily pay in taxes. They don't owe very much. There's a wide audience of people that the lease makes more sense than the loan does. And to that point, and I don't know if you want to get into this, but
do they take the panels back when the lease is up?
Not necessarily. So the contract says, you know, that they can buy they can buy the panels at fair market value.
Okay.
And we're talking about, I mean, talk about inflation. How much is it going to be for an install crew to go remove those panels from the roof 20 years from now? 20 years from now, 25 years from now, how much is it going to be to roll trucks out there and pay 4 W-2s to pull that off? I mean, at that point, they're probably making, you know, $200 an hour, right? It's going to, for a 20-year-old solar system that's been sitting in the sun and degrading on a schedule that we know because the manufacturers give us that degradation, right? Nobody's going to be buying a 20-year-old solar system. It's going to be more expensive to pull that off the roof than it is going to be to just pray and hope the homeowner takes it for free, right?
Yeah.
But we can't say that right now because we've never hit the 25-year mark. But the reason they can't put that they're going to sell it to them for $1, which is what they used to say, is because these lease and PPA companies, they get to depreciate the asset much like a business does a car. If they own the solar system that's on a roof and it's depreciating, they get to depreciate the asset and they get to keep the tax credit and they get the monthly payment from the homeowner. So they're depreciating it all the way down to zero. But if they, in the contract, if they say we're going to sell it to you for $1, they've now valued that system at $1 and they can't depreciate it much more than that, right? So they put fair market value so they can depreciate it at the rate that the government's allowing them to, which is how you get the term tier 1 panels. Higher end panels, they can depreciate at tier 1 levels. Cheaper panels depreciated at tier 2 level. And literally that's where the term comes from, is the rate that you can depreciate the panels at. It has nothing to do with the quality of the panels.
All right. Tell us about Jake. You married? Do you have kids? What's going on with Jake? Jake Hess.
So
Single?
I'm single.
Drinking?
I'm single. I had a fiance. I focused way too much on the business, Helio Gold, and you know there's some other things too, but ended up losing her. But we had a baby together, a planned baby, and she's one of the greatest women in the world. Like we still get together. We just went to Disneyland recently. Like we still get together and do everything for our son, talk every single day on the phone. Like we're co-parenting in a way. We never went to court. I give her child support. Like we're co-parenting in a way that I feel lucky about. She's a phenomenal mother to him. And yeah, it's been a great
What's your
experience.
son's name?
His name is Brighton. It's after a ski
Brighton
resort.
Solar Hess.
Damn, that's a good idea. No. Yeah, after a ski resort in Utah, I used to be a sponsored snowboarder, and so my favorite resort was Brighton, and she named him Brighton. That wasn't me. She did it. So I think it's pretty cool.
Man, I love the Olympics snowboarding, the big jumps, right? Did you ever do that with the flips?
I do big jumps. I'll hit 60-foot, 80-foot kickers. I'll do that still, but the half pipes I'd never learned. I don't know how they do it. I don't understand. The jumps that I hit when I was sponsored, like the stuff that they're doing today, hell no. I never, ever did that. Like these kids today are doing some wild craziness. I would get up there and maybe touch my snowboard and then land, you know. That was a wild trick. No, I would cork some spins. I would, you know, go inverted sometimes, but what these kids do today is nothing like it was when I snowboarded.
Where do you live?
Where I live now, I live in La Jolla, San Diego.
Okay, right, San Diego. All right,
Yeah.
and the wife and kids there, or the wife and kid?
Or the baby mama and the kid.
Yeah.
She actually lives about 5 blocks from me.
Okay.
It's because my schedule is crazy. So whenever we need, this is Sergey. Serge, the creator. He's the one doing all the social media and the filming.
He's your audio guy.
He's the creator, so he has camera crews and creates the social media content, posts it up, that kind of stuff.
Creative control.
So he has access to all of our groups and Facebook pages and Instagram pages and all, and he creates stuff for us.
Right. So Solarcon is in April, mid to late.
It's April 21st through the 23rd.
21, and it's in Utah?
Utah, Salt Lake. So we picked it there because COVID is less likely to shut it down than it is California, right?
Right.
So it's strategic why we picked Salt Lake. That's why a lot of conferences are happening in Salt Lake right now, actually, is this COVID scare. We spent all this time building it, selling tickets. Like the last thing we want to do is refund everyone their money because COVID shut it down.
Yeah.
Is it going to
How
be
do we get on the VIP list?
You guys are VIPs in my opinion.
Hey, there we go.
So you're having how many 70 speakers there, panels? Do you have any like who's keynoting there?
So for this first conference, because it's never been done where everyone's been in this under the same roof, there's hundreds of organizations out there right now using Titan, but they've never met the owner of Titan. They've never got to hear him speak. They don't even know what it's all about. So that's just one example. People haven't seen inverters. They don't know software. It's like, so we're bringing it all under one roof. And so for this year, we didn't need big names like Grant Cardone or Ed Milet or, John Maxwell. Like, we don't need these big names because it's never been done. It's year 2. I think we're going to need those big names for sure. But we're pretty excited that everyone gets to come in. So the speakers this year are actually people from our industry, giants in our industry. And even one of them owns RoofCon. We have a lot of roofers that are starting to get into solar, and we have a lot of solar people that don't know roofs very well. So one of our big speakers is the guy that owns roofing.com, who also owns RoofCon. And so we're pretty excited to have him. His name's Hunter, come and talk. We have battery storage trainings. We have accountants that are going to be teaching the tax credit, how to utilize it, how to figure it out. We have project managers to how to properly maintain projects, door knocking panel. We have everything that is the solar industry. It's an educational based event. So people are going to come and just learn.
What do you think of spray foam?
I think it's great. It's great. It insulates the attic. The thing about attics is people don't know they're actually supposed to be hot in the summer. The house is built so that it's hot in the summer and it's supposed to cool down in the winter. It's supposed to be cold and hot up there. So the insulation just keeps it what it's supposed to be. It does help. And so I'm a proponent of it. Yeah.
Spray foam and solar. I feel like
are you talking about spray foam that goes on top of manufactured homes, or are you talking about inside the attics?
Inside the attic.
Oh, okay.
To help reduce the energy bill.
Yeah. We become more and more reliant on electronics every single day. 5 years ago, we didn't probably have a flat screen television in every single room, but now we do. We have multiple laptops, iPads, cell phones. Like, people are going to start being put on medical devices. Some of the homeowners we chat with, we become more reliant on electronics every day. Just because you spray foam an attic and you save them some energy today doesn't mean that the solar's, if you do 100% offset, it's not going to offset what they use in the future still, right? One of my favorite lines you asked earlier that I love to tell homeowners is I say, look, this is a decision that it's a decision you're making for the next 25 years. So let's slow it down a little bit. Let's make sure we get this right. No need to sign all these contracts right now for a site survey. Let's just slow this down and figure out what's going to work best for you guys and make sure you understand it. And they're like, thank you. Yeah, let's do this over a couple meetings. So I teach a 2-pitch close.
Wait. Did you just say a couple meetings?
I do a 2-sit close. I don't do a 1-sit. And
Andrew, how do you feel about that?
Josh, just because you need 2 sits to close doesn't mean it's necessary.
It's not necessary. On the operation side of things, it definitely helped out significantly. And with the homeowners, my closing rate went up into the high 90s. And it's because I was filtering everyone out before. So let's say you sign a contract on sit 1. Now they have the option to feel scared about it. They have that option now. And if they do decide to go down a path of fear, as the salesperson, you're now obligated to alleviate that fear. Versus if you're a 2-sit close model, there is no option for fear because they get to go to sleep and they get like, oh, I have more questions for Jake. We can't wait till he comes. Okay, Jake. First thing I do is I sit down, I'm like, all right, everyone I meet with that goes to sleep, they're like, I need to ask this. What did you guys come up with while I was gone? All of the fear goes away. And when they sign up, I think Helio Gold, I think in total, we had about 12 cancellations over about 5-year period because of this model.
How many
And
installs do you think you did over 5 years?
10, no.
That must have been some expensive solar netting 1.4.
No, I don't know. I have all the spreadsheets and stuff. I don't know. I know annually, like the last year that we did it, I just did the math last night. I believe it was
How'd you scale the company? How many people did you scale it to?
9.5 megawatts. We scaled it. So San Diego office had about 58 door-to-door sales reps, 4 W-2 employees, and 2 owners.
So is it still in existence? Does Mac, what's his name? Mac?
Ben Mac.
Ben, does he still own it or?
No, in fact, when we decided to shut it down because we wanted to start consulting, he gave me back full ownership of Helio Gold. And so I actually sat on it for about a year with the lights shut off, not operating. And people reached out to me and said, so if you're not using this, can we buy it from you? And I was like, sure. So that's how that happened.
You get some good coin on that?
How is that split up? Was it amicable?
With Ben?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We hang out, we go surfing still, talk every day. I tried to get him to come back to the Solar Academy. I tried to get him on at Solarcon. His whole thing is like, I'm begging him. I'm like, Ben, just come back. His whole thing is like, how much money can I make from this? And is it more than I'm doing right now? Nope. And
He's fierce about his time. He's very fierce about his time, clearly.
Yes, he is.
He might not be passionate about solar.
He's really good at solar. He loves solar, but he's more passionate about efficiency in his family and time, right?
Right. He's doing solar for a living, not because he loves it. So that's why he's so fierce about his time.
Right. And you know, that's a page that we can tear out of anyone's book, right? It's something I need to get good at. But I do have passion, not necessarily for solar. I have other passions in the solar industry that I'm passionate about. It doesn't necessarily have to be solar, and that's why I built Solarcon and or doing it with my team. And the Solar Academy is my passion. Is I want everybody to learn how to sell at a higher threshold, at a higher rate, and make the sales more clean for the homeowners. It doesn't have to be wham bam sign here, let's go, like panels. It doesn't have to be that. It could be you can get referral based business, because that's what Ben and I did. That's probably what we're most known for in California, is our ability to get referral based business. I still get about 10 referrals a month that I'm giving to people, and I haven't sold in years. And so these 2-sit closes bring on a lot of referral based business. And we like to teach that to, a lot of the audience. We do teach 1-sit closes as well. To your point, Andrew, there's no right or wrong way, right? There's just different philosophies behind both models.
Yeah.
I feel like some people just aren't closable on the first meeting, so you got to adapt, but some people are open to it.
A lot of people can be closed on the first meeting. There's a lot of sales practices and tools out there, NLP. There's a lot of things you can do to get them closed. It doesn't mean all of them are going to stay, and it doesn't mean all of them are going to refer you, because if you do close a job, maybe they can handle it, but they're not going to say, hey, you should go talk to my mom, because they're going to be put under that same level of stress that they were put under, and they wouldn't wish that on their own mother, right? And so I do believe you limit yourself doing a 1-sit close in many different ways, but also on the other end of the spectrum, you're limiting yourself by doing a 2-sit close as well. So you can't meet with as many homeowners. Your time's consumed twice as much per homeowner as it is others, right? But it helps operationally on the backside for sustainability of a business. If we're talking business talk, 100% do a 2-sit close. If you're a salesperson, 1-sit close all day. There's different agendas.
I just business stock.
What's that?
Business talk. Business talk. Is that Sergio in the background?
Sergey.
Sergey.
Russian.
Caete. Spasiba.
Oh shit.
All right, I mean, all right, yeah, let's give it like 3 more minutes and then we'll wrap it up.
Anything else you want to say to the people, Jake?
Area. Oh, he's almost done. I'm gonna go into I'm in an Airbnb, so we've got these different rooms that we're in.
Where are you right now? Scottsdale, you said?
Yeah, Phoenix. I think,
Phoenix.
yeah. So sorry, what was your last question?
What else you want to say to the people?
For everyone selling solar out there or you know trying to get into it, the very best thing that you could possibly ever do, there's 2 things. The first one is read your contracts that you're selling and know them inside and out. I don't think there's any training out there in the planet that's as good as that training. Because when a homeowner starts to ask you questions, the amount of power that you have by pulling out a contract that you've highlighted and showing them, oh, that's answered right here. What happens after 25 years? Oh, right here, you can see this highlighted part. They're going to sell it to you at fair market value. This is how it works. This is what we're thinking, right? And then you constantly are just referring to that contract. Salespeople don't understand that that contract is actually a better friend to you and the homeowner than the proposals are. That's what's selling the solar. They're not selling it they're not purchasing the solar because they see how it looks on top of the house. If people were doing that, they'd buy Lamborghinis every single day. They love how Lamborghinis look like. They know what it looks like. People can imagine what solar panels look like on your house. They're buying it because they feel comfortable moving forward with that decision. And that comes a lot from the contract. So learn your contract. The second thing I would say is, if it doesn't make sense to you, if you have a manager or a mentor or someone training you and it doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. Listen to them because they've been doing it longer and there's probably a reason why they're doing it that way, right? Just trust the process, trust them. They've been through it already. Once you start selling as much as they do, now you can start to refine things the way that you want to do it because you've learned that ability to get to where they're at. So those are my 2 pieces of advice.
Sweet.
Nice.
Thanks for coming on, Jake.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Jake clearly cares. So your website is what? thesolaracademy.com?
That's solaracademy.com. There's another guy that owns Solar Academy, and we can play the trademark game, but it's kind of fun. I'm sure he's stoked. He's had people go on to his interviews and stuff because we're building up all the hype and the SEO behind it. So sometimes people accidentally type in Solar Academy and he's getting business from it, but we kind of laugh about it. We think it's fun. But yeah, thesolaracademy.com.
And then SolarCon, what's that site?
So that's attendsolarcon.com.
Attendsolarcon.com. All right. It's out there.
Boom.
Thank you both. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. You guys, the dynamic between you 2 is awesome.
Jay, thanks, Jay. Hey, I think that